Before you sleep tonight, I want you to imagine a lighthouse. Not the kind tourists visit, not the kind painted on postcards. I mean an old lighthouse, a lonely one, standing on a cliff above a restless sea. A lighthouse so forgotten that even the maps had begun to erase it. And inside that lighthouse lived a girl. Well, not exactly a girl anymore. She was 26 years old. But everyone in the nearby village still called her the Lighthouse Girl. Her real name was Ilara, and every single night she climbed 312 spiral steps carrying a lantern. Every single night. For 10 years, no matter the weather, no matter the season, no matter how pointless it seemed, because the truth was, no ships had passed that coast for years. The village below had changed. The harbor had emptied. The fishing boats were gone. The merchants stopped visiting. Even the old sailors who once filled the taverns had disappeared. The sea route was abandoned. People said modern ships used safer waters now. They said the lighthouse was no longer necessary. Many believed it should be shut down. But Ilara continued lighting it. Every night. Without fail, the villagers stopped asking why. Eventually, they simply accepted it. Like the tides, like the moon, like rain. Some things simply continued because they always had. Her father had been the lighthouse keeper before her, and his father before him. For generations, her family had watched over the sea. When Ilara was 16, her father became ill. One winter evening, as snow fell against the lighthouse windows, he handed her the brass lantern. His hands trembled slightly. "Promise me something." "What is it?" she asked. "No matter how lonely it becomes." He looked toward the dark ocean. "Keep the light burning." She smiled. "Of course." But her father shook his head. "No." His voice grew quieter. "I'm serious." He looked strangely sad. "As long as the light burns, someone may still find their way home." A few weeks later, he was gone, and Ilara never forgot those words. Years passed. The lighthouse became her entire world. She learned the language of storms. She learned the moods of the sea. She learned which waves belonged to approaching rain and which belonged to distant winds. At night, she often sat beside the enormous glass lens and watched the beam sweep across the darkness, round and round, again and again, searching, waiting, hoping, though she wasn't sure for what. Then came the fog, the thickest fog anyone could remember. It arrived late one autumn evening, rolling across the ocean like a living thing, swallowing the horizon, swallowing the stars, swallowing the moon. By midnight, the world beyond the lighthouse windows had vanished completely. Only white mist remained. The sea itself disappeared. Even the waves became invisible. Ilara had never seen fog like it. It felt wrong somehow, ancient. Watching, she climbed to the lantern room and lit the beacon. The great light began its slow rotation, cutting through the white silence. Again, and again, and again. Then she heard something, a sound, far away. A ship's horn. Ilara froze. Her heart stopped. For a moment, she wondered if she had imagined it. No ships came here anymore. No ships had come for years. Then the horn sounded again, low, mournful, lost. Somewhere beyond the fog, Alara rushed to the window. Nothing. Only mist. Only white emptiness. Then, a shape appeared, far out at sea. Dark, massive, moving slowly through the fog. A ship. It looked impossibly old. Its sails hung motionless. Its hull was black as midnight. Golden lanterns glowed along its decks. Yet no sound came from it. No crew, no movement, only silence. The ship drifted toward the lighthouse, and as it approached, Alara felt something strange. Not fear, recognition, as though she had seen it before. Long ago, in a dream she had forgotten. The ship stopped offshore, floating in the fog, waiting, watching. Then a small rowboat lowered into the water. One lone passenger sat inside, crossing toward the lighthouse. The boat reached the shore. The figure stepped onto the rocks. A man, perhaps 60 years old. His coat was worn by salt and time. Silver hair moved gently in the wind. And when he looked up at the lighthouse, tears filled his eyes. Alara met him at the door. Neither spoke for several moments. Then the man smiled, a tired smile, the kind carried by people who have traveled too far. "I finally found it," he whispered. Inside the lighthouse, beside the fire, the stranger told his story. Many years ago, when he was a boy, his father had been a sailor. One stormy night, their ship became lost. The waves were enormous. The sky was black. They believed they would die. Then a light appeared, far away. A lighthouse. Its beam guided them safely home. That light saved their lives. The man never forgot it. For decades, he traveled the world, ocean after ocean, country after country. But he always promised himself one thing. One day, he would return and thank the keeper who kept the light burning. Alara listened quietly. The fire crackled softly. Outside, the fog pressed against the windows. Then, the man removed something from his pocket. A photograph, old, faded. He placed it on the table. Alara stared. It was her father, standing beside the lighthouse, smiling. The photograph had been taken nearly 40 years earlier. The stranger smiled. He never knew. Knew what? Alara asked. The man looked toward the lighthouse windows. That his light changed my life. Silence filled the room. Gentle, peaceful, heavy with memory. Hours passed. They shared tea, stories, laughter, old memories. And for the first time in years, the lighthouse felt alive again. Not lonely, not forgotten. Alive. Just before dawn, the fog began to lift. The stranger stood. "It is time." Alara walked him to the shore. The mysterious ship waited quietly offshore, its lanterns glowing gold against the fading darkness. The man paused before boarding. Then he looked at her. "Your father was right. What do you mean? He smiled. As long as the light burns. He looked toward the sea. Someone will always find their way home. The rowboat drifted away. The ship vanished into the morning mist. And, slowly, the sun rose. Golden light spilled across the ocean. For the first time in years, Ilara cried. Not from sadness, but from understanding. She finally knew why she had continued all those years. Why she climbed the spiral stairs. Why she lit the lantern. Why she kept the promise. Because sometimes you never know whose darkness is waiting for your light. And sometimes the reason for your purpose arrives many years after you begin. So tonight, as you listen to the wind outside your window, and as sleep slowly finds you, remember the lighthouse believed it no longer mattered because somewhere, in ways we may never fully understand, the light we keep alive for others may be guiding someone home.